Hello there guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about the newest Panasonic Micro Four Thirds camera, the Panasonic BGH1. This is pretty much a modular cinema broadcast type of camera, set to compete with the likes of the Zcam E2 and in some ways the Blackmagic as well, Pocket 4K and 6K. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on it in this video, and also the future of Panasonic and what I want to see in the GH6. And if the GH6 is gonna be that great or not, if it's even gonna come out anytime soon. So yeah, stay tuned guys for the BGH1 analysis. So guys, I have right here already on B&H the page for this camera. So it's retailing for $2,000 pretty much. The same as the GH5S the same as the GH5S. So as you can see, it's pretty much a modular camera. It's a box type camera, pretty much supposed to be rigged up, so you don't get a screen. It doesn't even have a mechanical shutter. You can't even use it for photography. It's only meant for video, so you can only do video with this camera. Now I don't really see the point in Panasonic releasing this camera. I think they want to compete with Zcam, but then again, Zcam has more models like this, and they also have a 6K full frame camera as well, also an 8K as well. They also have a cheaper one as well compared to this one, which is the Zcam E2 M4, I believe, which is cheaper than this one. Also, Blackmagic offers cinema type cameras that are also much cheaper than this one, like the Pocket 4K, for example, and the Micro Cinema 4K. So yeah, I don't really see a point in Panasonic releasing this camera. I think they should have released the GH6, but whatever. So I'm gonna go here over the specs. I'm not gonna make this video too long because I don't really have much to talk about this camera. So I'm also gonna talk about the specs compared to the GH5S, and then I'm gonna be talking about the GH6, I guess, and what I want to see in that camera. So this camera, the BGH1, uses the same sensor as the GH5S. So you get 10 megapixels sensor, a Micro Four Thirds 10 megapixel sensor, which is a multi-aspect sensor. So it is an oversized sensor. So it uses a bigger sensor, a bigger area, should I say. Unlike the GH5, for example, which has a 2 times crop, this camera and the GH5S offer a 1.8 times crop because of the oversized sensor. So you get a little bit wider when it comes to video. So the low light is gonna be much better, as well as dynamic range. This camera uses pretty much the same sensor as the GH5S, so you get 10 megapixels, which is not gonna be good for photography. But then again, this camera doesn't even have photography features, so you can only use this camera for video. So that's a drawback compared to the GH5S. With the GH5S, you can do photography as well. With this one, you can't. It has dual native ISO. So from 160 to 51,200 native, and then expanded from 880 to 204,800. It has 13 stops of dynamic range. So I believe it has one more stop compared to the G5S, which has 12 stops, I believe. So there's that. Now the ISO is the same as the G5S. It might be a little bit better, I don't know, but I won't be surprised if it's a little bit better compared to the G5S. So it uses the Micro Four Thirds lens mount, of course. It has 2 SD card slots. It has Cinema 4K up to 60p and 1080p up to 240 frames per second, just like the GH5S. It doesn't have a recording limits. I think it has a limit recording for all the videos, for all the video specs. Now it has 422 10-bit, but it's only externally. It doesn't have 422 10-bit internally. I don't know why. It should have had 10-bit 422 internal, but it only has external. You only get 420 internal. If you want 422 10-bit, you have to record externally with an Olympus Ninja 5, for example. It also does not have RAW internal. It doesn't actually, as a matter of fact, it doesn't even RAW. It doesn't even have RAW as a matter of fact. So if you want to record video RAW, you're gonna have to either buy a Blackmagic Pocket 4K, which has RAW video internal. This camera doesn't even have RAW. They might add RAW via firmware update or something, but even if they add RAW, it's gonna be external. So even if this camera allows for RAW recording, it's not gonna have internal RAW, because not even the S1H, which costs $4,000, has RAW internal. So it's only gonna have, if it has RAW, it's only gonna be external. So compared to the Blackmagic, you're already losing on that. So yeah, I don't really see a point in this camera really. Compared to the GH5S, you get a lot of drawbacks. First of all, you can't even do photography with this camera. With the GH5S, you can do photography. Yes, it's only 10 megapixels, but then again, you can still do photography, low light photography. For if you don't print or something like that, 10 megapixels is not really going to be that terrible if you're going to be publishing your photos online. So there's that. You also get with the GH5S a flip out screen. This camera does not even offer a screen, so you're going to have to buy an external monitor or a recorder, and then you're going to be even more expensive than the $2,000 price that this camera asks for. So yeah, the GH5, as I see things, this camera is a little bit better than the GH5S when it comes to video only, but then again, the GH5S offers a screen. It also offers photo features as well. You can do photography with that camera as well. You also have much better ergonomics, because this camera is a modular camera. It's a box type camera. With the GH5S, you get a real grip, so you get much better ergonomics with the GH5S as well. So as it stands out, I really don't see a point in this camera. I don't know why Panasonic released this camera. Panasonic really should just release the GH6, which is what people are asking for. Now, I think Panasonic has improved the autofocus in this camera. Actually, they have improved the autofocus, but it still uses the same DFD autofocus system. So you can't really expect that reliable autofocus in video, even though they said they have improved the autofocus. It's probably on the level of the S5, probably. So they most likely have improved the autofocus a little bit, but it's still not gonna be that reliable for video tracking and stuff. So you're still gonna be dependent on manual focus if you want to have if you want to have good reliable autofocus. You're not gonna find it here. So most people are also gonna be using manual focus with this camera. So yeah, I think Panasonic really should just release the GH6. I think the GH6 should just be a combination of the G9 and the GH5S. So ideally, I would design the GH6 with the quad Bayer sensor. So you would get the same sensor as this one. So you get 10 megapixels for low light and video shooting. So that way you could get good low light performance from a Micro Four Thirds sensor. And then you could also get the 20 megapixels side of things to allow for photography and the high resolution shooting as well. That's how I will design the GH6 with a quad Bayer sensor. So you get 20 megapixels for photography and 10 megapixels for video. Now, the GH6, I've already said this in a prior video as well. The GH6 is now rumored to not be releasing anytime soon, unfortunately. It was scheduled to be announced prior to the end of this year, but now it's only scheduled to be announced next year, I think. So do not expect the GH6 anytime soon, which is really unfortunate, because Panasonic really needs the GH6, because Micro Four Thirds, I've already said this in the previous video, Micro Four Thirds world, the Micro Four Thirds system is dying, in my opinion. It's pretty much dying. There hasn't been any sort of improvement when it comes to sensors. And now with full frame cameras like the Canon EOS RP and then the Nikon Z5, they're coming up with cameras that are pretty much even cheaper than some Micro Four Thirds cameras. So as full frame prices drop, there's not going to be any more points to Micro Four Thirds. Micro Four Thirds still continue to offer very overpriced cameras, especially Olympus. Olympus offer very overpriced cameras, in my opinion. Panasonic at least has very good video specs, but then again, the competition now is offering the same video specs, especially Fujifilm. They also now offer 10-bit video as well and 4K 60. So that advantage that Panasonic had before with the GH5, there's no longer that advantage there, because now like I said, the other companies like Canon, Panasonic, Fujifilm, Nikon, and Sony are now offering 4K 60 as well, and some are offering even better specs like the A7S III and the Panasonic S5, also full frame. The Panasonic, even though it's from the same manufacturer from Panasonic, that camera is still better than the BGH1 in my opinion, and it sells for the same price, and it is full frame. So there's really no point anymore in Micro Four Thirds, in my opinion, unless you want to do macro, because Micro Four Thirds is still the best when it comes to macro. Or if you want a smaller system, Micro Four Thirds still is the best. But then again, if you look at the Canon USRP and the Nikon Z5 and even the Sony A7C, they're pretty much small, and even smaller than the GH5 and the G9. So the size advantage is pretty much not really that big anymore. So the Micro Four Thirds system as a whole is not really that appealing anymore as the years progress. And like I said, there hasn't been any sort of improvement whatsoever. When it comes to lenses, Panasonic hasn't released any sort of new lenses whatsoever. The last lens it released was the 10-25 f1.7, which is almost $2,000, and it's pretty big. So yeah, I don't really see any point anymore in investing in Micro Four Thirds, which is a shame because Micro Four Thirds is a really great system. I really am a fan of Micro Four Thirds, but unfortunately, if you want to invest in Micro Four Thirds, you have to invest a lot of money, and when you really look into it, you will just be better off buying full frame for the same price as a Micro Four Thirds. So yeah, the GH6 really needs to deliver. I really wish the G9 will offer on recording and the same video specs as the GH5, but unfortunately it does not. If the G9 offered unlimited recording and some specs that the GH5 offered, I will probably buy it, but it doesn't. So unfortunately, I could not buy it. So there's that. I really would like to see a successor to the G9, but I think Panasonic really should just make the GH6 be a fusion of the GH5S and the G9. There's really no point for the stills oriented camera and the video centric camera. Panasonic just release one camera for hybrid shooters that does both good video and good photography. Like I said, the GH6 with the quad player sensor would be pretty much a good deal. That would be great. You can only do so much with Micro Four Thirds, but yeah, Panasonic really needs to release a GH6 because now with Olympus selling their imaging division, sooner or later, most people are gonna end up leaving the Micro Four Thirds system because there hasn't been a lot of improvements or evolution in the sensor department, and as full frame prices come down, more people are gonna get into full frame. Also because they're getting smaller as well, the size of full frame cameras. So Micro Four Thirds as a whole is gonna die sooner or later, unfortunately, which is really sad. So yeah, Panasonic, please release the GH6 soon, okay? Please improve the autofocus system. That camera really needs a time of flight sensor or something like that. Just improve the autofocus, make it a quad player sensor so it allows for good photography and good video, low light quality as well. Also have IBIS as well, because the BGH1 does not have IBIS. That's another con of this camera, it does not have IBIS. If it at least had IBIS, that will be an advantage over the GH5S, but it does not even offer IBIS. So you will need this camera is really mostly to be used with the gimbal. So yeah, it doesn't even have IBIS, so do not think about using this camera handheld anyway. So yeah, pretty much this is my take on the BGH1, guys. So overall, I think it's a pretty ridiculous release. Panasonic really should just emphasize on releasing the GH6. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Like always, subscribe to the channel if you want to support my work and you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, so stay safe out there, and UNHOLY-OMEGA signing out. Have a good one.